today's tutorial, I'll train on common HTML input types. So the input types are just used when you're creating your forms, when you're creating some of the tables in HTML, and when you're writing your document. So there are various types of input types we'll be looking at. So some of them are text, you can have password, email, placeholders, you can have required, you can have max length, you can have button, you can have text boxes and a reset button, then you can have also submit buttons. So for the first thing, you can start with text. A text is just used when you're creating an HTML form whereby a person inserts a certain text like your name. You can insert your name, you can insert your certain information that is required. So let's see, that is input type. Just write input type, then you just say test, you just say test, then just say name. Let's say you're writing an input types for name, just say name, then you just close. Let's go to our browser and see how it appears. So this is a input type. You can just input your text there. You can write your name, you can say filler. Okay, that is, you can just write anything, you can write your name, you can insert anything there. So the other input type that we'll be looking at is password. You can have just password. So you can write just there, you can write input type, you can have password, then just name here, you can use password, then you just go to your browser, just refresh. You see now when you insert, you see when you insert it just appears as dots. So that's the input type for password. You can have input type for email, you can just have email, you can have email. So email is just the same as the test, so you can just have that one for email there. Then you can insert your email at Gmail. So you can write anything .gmail at gmail.com, but you have not inserted the validation. You can just validate your form and the type of email that one should insert. Using JavaScript, you can use Python or any other high-level programming language. So the other part we'll be looking at is just checkboxes. Checkboxes are just used for making selection among various options. So let's have another one for input type checkbox. You can have checkbox here, checkbox. Then for the name, you can have, let's say you're writing for policies, you can have policy. Then here you can just write I agree with the policies. Let's just go to your browser here and you can just refresh and see. You see now you can make selection, you can also say, let's say you can just say you can have I disagree with the policies. You can have and disagree with the policies and disagree, you can select either that one or just this one and just select any and disagree with the policies, or you just agree. The next part we'll be looking at is just button. A button is just inserted. When it is clicked, it displays certain information. When it is clicked, it displays certain information. You can just have that one, then you just say input type, you can have button. You can have button, then you for the name, okay. You can have button there, then you just say on click. You can just have on click what it displays. Alert, then you can have a certain information to bracket there. Hey, I am learning. I'm learning HTML. So you can have value there. You can say click me. You can have click me. So just go to your browser there, then you just refresh. See, now you have a button there. So when you click on it, should display I am learning HTML, Okay, so that's kind of button that we have. You can have something else we call max length. You can have max length. Max length is probably used when you just write in your password. You can have password. So you can set, let's say here, input type, you can have password. Then on this part, just write password. Then you can just put max length. Let's say you can just write 8. You can write 8. So it means the password should be 8 characters. If you put a minimum of that one, or you just write more. So let's see how it appears. So let's refresh our site here, then you'll have something like this. So your password must be 8 characters. You see, now you have inserted 8 characters. If you try to insert more characters, it can be inserted. So that's how you can put validation to your form, and the password and the names of the password that person should insert. So the other part we'll be looking at is something else we call button, or look at radio. Radio is another input type that is mostly used. It's just used especially when you're making selection, like for the gender you can have male, female, or any other gender. So to write the radio input type, we'll just need to write input type. Here you'll just write radio, then you can have name, gender. You can have the name as gender. You can have the name as gender. Then here you can just write can have value here. Value here is male. We can have value here is male. Then you can just write and say you can just write checked. Then you just write male. Just write male. In that case, so you can just copy paste. You can just copy paste for the other options to make. Just you can have here as female. You can have here as female. And you have female here. You can have as other. Then here you have other. So you just go to your browser, then you can just refresh and see what happens. So you see now you can make any selection. Either you choose between male, female, or another gender. So that's how the use of radio. The other part you'll be looking at is something else we call required. But before we look at required, and there we can have placeholder. We can have, let's say, input type. You can have email. Then you can say name equals to email. Then you just close there. Then you will have placeholder here. Placeholder is just used to show an example of a characters that you should insert. Let's say you can write, say, gmail.com. So just go to your browser and see how it appears. We'll have this one as a placeholder. So you see now this is a placeholder now. This is a placeholder now, what I'm talking about. So if you try to insert a new, you can insert your email. Just showing you an example of a character that should be inserted into that input type. So the other part will be is submit button and the reset button. So let's say you are creating a form. We can just create, okay, you can say input type, or you can just have button type. You can just write submit. Can have submit. Then you just write submit. So you close there. So you'll have, or you can have input type. Then say just reset. You can have input type, then you have it is reset, then you close. Let's see how it appears. So you refresh your browser here, then you'll have submit, you'll have reset, you'll have submit, you'll have reset. So for better understanding, you can just create a simple form, a registration form to see the use of this one. So you can have, let's say, form, you can have form, then you can just say input type, you can have input type, test, then you can say name equals to first name. You can have test for the last name, you can have last name, you can have password, or just let's say email. This is for the email, you can have for the email, and the other part you can have the password, then you can have password there, then you can just have the last part which we'll be looking at is something else called submit. So you just write button type, just say some, you can just say run, then you just close, just write submit, then you can just have input type, you can have reset, then just close, here. You can just insert line break there, you can add line break, line break there if you are there, then you can just have, so we are making use of required is just used to validate that if you don't insert or you don't fill that field, it will not be submitted, or just say that you need to fill that field, or if there is any empty field, the form will not be submitted. So let's see how it appears. You just refresh your browser there, then you have your form here. Now you can have, let's say, submit. You see now it's saying that this is a required field because you have validated that it's required, that field is required, so it says that this field should be filled. You can just have it as first name, you can just say below, you can just have the other part as, then the other part you can just insert your email at gmail.com, then you can insert your password, then you submit. See now the form has been submitted, and you see that now it appears in your URL here, your password and everything is just there. So the reset button is just used if you just fill your, then you just want to reset and you insert a new. So when you click on reset, it just runs or clears everything on the form and just start a new, you just fill your form afresh. So that's what we were to discuss today. We have just discussed the main and the common HTML input types. Hope you understand. Thank you for watching. If you are just new into this channel, you can just subscribe to our channel, like, you may share with your friends for the future tutorials. Thank you guys.